I mean, let's be real, dude. There's a lot of people that look at like grinding and roleplay as like a negative, right? I think that there's a line where it does become negative. I think Nopixel 4.0 teetered that line, and in some cases crossed the line, but not to its. I don't necessarily think to the point where it made it inherently bad. At the end of the day, like there needs to be a level of grind in every server. Like, what kind of weird fucking utopian world do people live in where they think people are gonna put in this like S-tier role play with these deep-seated storylines and everything 24/7, 7 days a week? This is an MMO. This is what it is. And if you're gonna hold people's attention for 50 hours, 100 hours, 200 hours, 300 hours a month, there has to be some level of grind. Because if not, everybody's burnt out. Nobody is like, I don't know how creative you think people as a whole are. Plus, it's a massive collaboration. So there needs to be a level of grind virtually at all times. Like you have to be working towards something, whether solo or collective as a group or you know, whatever the case may be. So there just has to be. Well, I think the reason why a lot of the grind felt pretty unfulfilling in Nopixel 4.0, at least after like the first 3 months, is because I don't think 4.0 really had much depth to it. It felt very rushed when it came out, and it was okay because it was new and exciting, and there was a lot of new people, and everybody was eating good, and viewership was crazy, and subs were crazy, and we all just kind of leaned on each other to make it a good thing. But then once the burnout started happening, and the big names started leaving, and you know, the content that was coming out seemed to be very surface level, there was no real depth. Like if a gang app comes out and there's a tech tree and you're unlocking double money for roof running and it takes you like 2 months to get it, you start to see, like, that's where the problem was, is it felt like a lot of it was placeholder stuff while they worked on the in-depth stuff, and the in-depth stuff never really materialized, or at least a lot of it. Some of it did, but a lot of it didn't. And because of that, it just felt like a grindy server because there was nothing really underneath the hood. It looked beautiful, but, you know, and there were beautiful parts to it, but ultimately there wasn't a whole lot of stuff under the hood, so to speak, right? And that's not me disrespecting the server. It's just, I think they know it, right? Like, and it wasn't all bad. It's just the truth. And they probably had a lot of pressure when Rockstar made that announcement that they were going to do like a Rockstar week or something, and then Onyx was coming out, and whatever other servers were coming out, and they probably felt pressured to release something that wasn't fully ready to be released. It was ready enough to get us going, but if there was any hiccups behind the scenes or dev issues or whatever, you basically had a period of time before sort of the imperfections really started showing. But again, I still think 4.0 was a big financial success, or at least I would think so, with how much like revenue it brought in, the people it brought in, the eyes it brought in, that sort of stuff. So it's not like it was a complete and utter failure. I mean, it's still going. You know, people are still enjoying the server. It's just, you got to ask yourself, like, you know, what are you looking for? It's also not really a server that you can kind of jump into and kind of just, it's either you're part of something or you're not part of anything almost. Like, there's not really a lot that you can just kind of do. I mean, Nopixel makes its money from selling assets, from their public servers. There's ways that they generate, you know, funds, right? Prio on their public servers, stuff like that. I mean, think about it. Prio isn't cheap, man. I don't know what the Prio is these days, but at $100 a month or $50 a month or $250 a month or $300 a month, it's like fucking car payments. I mean, you even get 1,000 people that do that, 100 people that do that, right? It's no small amount of money. But obviously there's overhead, right? Like you've got to pay your devs, your staff, your server fees, all this other stuff, right? But, I mean, still, probably made a substantial amount of money. So, you know, when people say it's like an utter failure, I don't think it failed. I think it may not have, the gravy train may not have, you know, lasted as long as some of the other ones, but I still think they probably did well. And once again, I'm speculating. I don't know. You know, I'm not here to count their money. I don't really know. All I do know is they gave us an opportunity and a fun server to play on so that we can make our money and that we can make a good living.
New subscriber code.
I made a fuck ton of money in the first, you know, 3 months of 4.0. Fuck ton. I probably made as much money in 3 months as what I'd normally make in 9. So, like, I'm not complaining. I also did put in 300 plus hours a month every month. My hope for 5.0, you know what my hope is for 5.0 is that I just have fun. That's it. I don't really, everything else is whatever. I just, you know, I can sit here and say this, say that, say that, say this. I hope the vibes, I just hope the vibes go back to like 2.0 vibes, or it feels
subscriber code.
or it feels very collaborative, and I just hope I have fun. That's it. That's it. I don't really care about much of anything else.